Hello and good evening for this Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. We just finished watching the third episode of Survivor 44 titled Sneaky Little Snake. We're here breaking this down on Super Mario Bros. Podcast. He's streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version. I'm Dave Mader, joined with Jaemeel Robinson and hopefully Josh Foster. We're not quite sure where Josh is at yet. But we're breaking in here to Survivor 44, episode 3, where we see Claire get voted out here. Full spoiler warning, by the way. We will be talking about this episode fully. Claire gets the fourth out of the game, third voted out technically on day 7 here. Jaemeel, how'd you feel about this episode?
Claire played such a game filled with a couple of interviews. She slept on the beach, and she was adjacent to the challenges. So, way to fulfill that Survivor experience there. I'm not losing a wink of sleep over her, because if you're going 3 challenges in a row and you're not playing and you get voted off, that's your own fault. That's no one else's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that that it's maybe a cautionary tale, perhaps, of how Claire goes out here. Not necessarily a complete player in her own fate here. Maybe they win the challenge if she participates, maybe not. Who knows? She felt like she was going to hold the team back, but that also she's offering no value to the team either, right? So
it's not like she's catching fish or something. Like,
she had a misconception that her intelligence and leadership would be sort of more valued, I think, by her tribe mates than it was ultimately. I don't think they cared much about that. But I think that's kind of the disconnect from Claire's real life in terms of versus how coming into Survivor and meeting a bunch of strangers who don't know her or see her in a certain light that she might be used to being seen.
Well, maybe she should have invested more in herself in preparing for this journey, because if you're only there to provide leadership and intelligence, and none of the leadership is leading them in challenges or leading in terms of building a shelter or using the intelligence to solve a puzzle, then you ain't bringing nothing but witty little segments when you're talking bad about other people on the tribe. So,
Foster.
Sorry, I'm late. I thought it started at 9:30.
It's okay.
Classic mistake.
I thought you'd want to start a little earlier. We start a little earlier. We're done a little earlier. The old trope. But
the old start them early. I see how it goes. No worries at all.
Sam was clamoring. He was like, "When's it started? Come on, we have to go. We got a countdown." And
we got to please the audience, right?
Yeah, we got to please the audience. You missed the intro, but we're not very far into the episode. We were talking about Claire and how she never participated in an immunity challenge, and she gets voted out here. And hard to feel bad for Claire.
No, not at all. And I think that just kind of a touch upon this point. She said at the end in her little goodbye thing that she's Survivor's biggest fan, and I'm like, well, no, Survivor's biggest fan would be in the mud. So,
yeah. Who was it tonight in the mud who found the fake idol? Was that Heidi or was that
Matt?
No, it was a woman. No, with Matthew.
From
the Ratchet tribe.
Purple Matt.
I guess it was. Was it Lauren? No, not Lauren. Jamie Lynn. Jamie Lynn, who was Plant Lady to Plant Daddy. Was it Plant? I don't know. There was they were Plant parents together tonight or something like that. In this episode, I don't know. I feel like in some ways this episode was very slow moving and sort of not a lot of excitement. On the other hand, I feel like we got to really see the tribes. Maybe that's a good thing, because we did get to see more of the gameplay, interplay, the strategy in these tribes. We get to see some of these characters like Danny running wild and planting idols and directing people to find his fake idols, and then calling out Matt B. And then I don't know. I think that there was kind of a nice comeback story here in this episode with the Purple Tribe, Tika. coming back to win this immunity or come second place at least, and keep the numbers sort of even, because if they had lost this and they got another 3, that's a very different dynamic for the rest of this game versus, here ultimately Soka loses Claire tonight, and so the numbers are a little bit more even heading into a post-merge factor. So Foster, did you enjoy tonight's episode?
Yes, I did, because I think that a lot of what Survivor is kind of evolved into is a social and strategic gameplay, right? And I think that what's really been apparent in this season thus far is that there's actually been a lot more strategy. Like, I wasn't privy to the pre-merge in the last season, but even when I arrived mid-season, it didn't seem like a lot was going on, right? It was like the first person to step out of line, and thank you, this first person to step out of line, and they'd be gone, right? Whereas this year, like, everyone's talking, right? Like, no one's like giving up, no one's giving in. Everyone's trying, like, even like tonight when we'll obviously get to it all, right? But even when Claire was like actually aware, like, I'm on the chopping block, and she talked to Franny, right? And as it was portrayed, we'll get to it, but as it was portrayed, Franny wanted to work with Claire, right? So at least it just gave you that sense of like, well, at least it's not a wash and she's going to be eliminated she's going to be voted out right away, right? There was actually some conversations, there was actually some back and forth in the tribe, and it came down to Heidi, right? But overall, like, but talking about the episode though, like, just to sum it up, is that I liked the gameplay this episode. It was nice to see.
Yeah. More. I think it's always been a part of the game, but some shows edited in more to the season than others. I feel like, because they had nothing to do but sit around and talk about. If they're not talking about their lives or their family lives or their social lives or whatever, they're talking about the game and who's they're allied with and what they're going to be finagling.
Or singing poorly.
Okay.
Canada.
Yeah. Okay. So we're the Canadian Survivor podcast. One of the only ones, I think. And so I think we have to talk about Kane's rendition here of "Oh Canada." I have the clip. Let's just bring it in, and I think we'll break it down here. I don't know if we'll play the whole thing to the end, but just let's get in the first like 5 or 10 seconds. Let's.
Oh Canada, our home and sacred land, we see thee rise, thee true north, strong and free.
Guys, this is those are not the words.
Yeah, those are not. I don't know what he was thinking.
Julie Black deserves an apology from all the people that complained about her rendition of "Oh Canada," because what I heard there is totally not representative of our national
home
anthem
and sacred land. No, that's not correct. Those are not the correct lyrics to the national anthem, I'm afraid. Kane, my fellow Canadian. Kane, of course, the third now Canadian resident, Canadian Survivor player, but the first to actually bring it up on the show. Whereas Marianne and Erica never really talked about being Canadian really that much. A little bit with Erica, but only towards the end of that season. Marianne, I don't think it came up once. And it was interesting to see, that not only does Kane bring up that he's Canadian, he does it in a very disastrously fashion. It's like this worst rendition that, like, it was like I don't know if it was edited poorly together. Maybe he
strung those words together. That did not seem.
That didn't seem like they were like editing him, like leaving out words and additional phrases and whatever, just to poorly.
Dave, how confident you are in singing "Oh Canada"? Even just not even singing it. I would just say the lyrics alone.
Well, because when I was in Cubs, and they used to make us like sing it at the end of the the session, at the end of the hour at Cubs. So it was like, and I had to get one of my stars. I had to like memorize it. So I just didn't lose it. I have sometimes I can memorize things, like and that was one of them.
Remember we had national anthem in school, like when you're in elementary school and stuff, and they have that at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, and like I remember one time, because when I was living in Montreal, we seldom ever played it. Right, it was like maybe once a quarter or like once like maybe in the fall or something. And then like when I got to Ontario, it was like they were playing it every morning for school along with the prayer. And I was like, what is this? Like, how did we get? Like, why is this happening? And then, I was talking one time, like during the anthem, and they were like, why are you being so disrespectful to the anthem? I'm like, I don't know. You guys overplay it. It's just like, it should be there for special occasions. You pop it out. I don't need it every day. Like, why?
So for me, so they had this rule. You had to be in class after the anthem is finished, but you cannot be walking while the anthem is playing. So I was notoriously late in school. So you would try to find the entrance where you can kind of like get as close as you possibly can to your classroom while the anthem is playing. But occasionally there would be a teacher standing guard in a hallway and you'd be like, damn, I'm stuck, right? And you can't move. And you'd have those moments after the anthem is over to book it to your classroom before they actually do that final attendance and close the door and you're officially late. So I knew it well because you're like,
well, like, did you have the instrumental version? Did your version have lyrics at your school?
Well, we would be singing it.
You had to sing it?
Yeah.
Did we have to sing it, Foster, at Notre Dame? I don't remember.
I didn't have to sing it.
I think they just played it on our like speaker system. And we had to like listen to it.
But in terms of Kane as the Canadian, as we get back to Survivor, I'll give him an A for effort. At least he tried.
No, well, I guess like okay, but like it should not be. It's not an even part of the scoring matrix here. I think he should know this. He talked about he knew all these like Lord of the Rings and things. Like he knew all these trivias. He should know his anthem a little bit better. That's all.
You know what? I don't have a problem if someone messes up some words. He totally it was a different song in some respects. Like, if the Americans, I'm sure there are some Americans who realized that he was not singing this correctly. And I think if they were like, if an American did that, I don't really know the Star Spangled Banner by heart. I feel like I would mess up some words, like when the ramparts went something. And, I don't know. And I don't think there would be some Americans who would be like, "Come on, man, like that's not right." But the bombs bursting in the air.
Yeah, like I've heard it a bunch of times, but there's a bunch of Americans who certainly heard
I might miss a word or two, but I could definitely get through the Star Spangled Banner and not like rearrange.
I think I would rearrange it. I don't know if I would get it in the right order, and but our flag was still there. I know it's towards the end, and okay. Anyway, I digress.
Oh, say, can you see?
Yeah, so Kane's rendition about Canada, not great. I guess we'll give him an A for effort, but I'm giving him an overall score of D- on his version there. But he's starting to grow on me, Kane. He was playing with a sword. This has a real like castle vibe, I guess. We've been talking about like knights and chess and different imagery this season. Can I just play this? I'm skipping ahead to like tribal council, but Jeff here with the gargoyle here at the end just made me laugh.
Council, no, it's that gargoyle. That's tribal. I'm coming for somebody.
I'm coming
for somebody. That was another great moment. And I think also my favorite in this episode was Carolyn. Just this moment here where she was starting to like figure things out and goes, I'm playing Survivor. I got it.
I'm playing Survivor. Mm-hmm. I'm doing good.
Anyway.
I doubt. I think that's she was fed that line.
Carolyn, can you just say, I'm playing Survivor?
No,
yep,
she's like, good. I don't know if I'm doing good. It's like, Carolyn, you're playing Survivor, you're doing fine. It's like, okay. No, just repeat it. Just repeat it. I'm doing fine. Great. Thanks. We got it for the
like the sound she makes at the beginning is the best part of it. I have no Sarah clips. No, I was not compelled to pull Sarah clips. So I do have the Kane's. So Sam's saying he liked Kane singing the national anthem. Sam, do you like that he sang it incorrectly though? Is my question to you. guys, let's just kind of go through a couple of the opening moments of the episode again, where we saw here the remnants of the Tika tribe coming out of the last vote, where it was Helen, right, that had gone, and they were kind of reliving those events, and I guess Carson feeling quite good about himself, Jaemeel, in terms of his role in this, and he feels like he's playing Survivor now.
No,
I guess
he's not.
the Tika survivors. I guess it was also Carolyn with the clip I played was also kind of saying, "Oh, I still have my idol," so I'm, maybe I'm doing okay. Of course, this is your girl Sarah here, Sam. She's at the bottom of this Tika tribe at the moment, but if they can manage to stay out of tribal, then she might go deep in this game. We, of course, yeah, Jam, and it's kind of an interesting four here. If if these four head into the merge together, it would be interesting to see how they kind of go forward, especially Carson, I think, in that group.
I don't understand Carson's thought process in voting out Helen.
Helen makes more sense for him to work with, right? Like Carson, I think Jam and Carolyn, and less so Sarah. I think Sarah maybe is somebody he would be more easy could work with. But yeah, there's kind of it doesn't seem like they would be the right mix here. There's Carolyn doing her thing, and then this is where we had Kane doing the O Canada thing. But we also got to you see he's all about fantasy, guys. He's all about the sword. I need to get that while I'm
here. I'm reading the Twitter reactions to Kane singing the national anthem.
This was not a great representation, I'd say, guys. I think Kane needs to. He would not pass the citizenship test if he was trying to enter Canada with that.
People are like, did CBS cut it for the American feed because, why? Why? They have gifts of people with their hands on their shoulders.
Right.
Oh, okay. Sorry, let's continue on.
Jaemeel, about Brandon, we also got a whole segment here in this episode him where we learned there's more to him than just football. He's a chef. He cooks. He dives. He what else, guys? There was other things. He
snowboards. He water snowboards or water boards. He's a chef. He likes to bake. He's a scuba instructor. Sorry, he has a scuba instructor license. All I heard is that the dude only does leisure stuff. He doesn't. What does he do? What is his job? And he can't say former NFL player, right? That's what he used to do. What does he do now?
He makes pies like a madman. You can't stop this guy. He'll make a dozen.
What is that picture? He made the pie blindfolded? What is
he's a blindfolded pie maker. What can you say about this guy?
Josh, this guy's annoying me. He hasn't done much, but he's annoyed me.
Look, he flies these things, he goes snowboarding.
Is this an intro to his sitcom? What is this?
There's a lot to this guy. You can't count out Brandon Cotton. Is that his name, right?
I thought that when they showed his backstory at the beginning of the episode, I thought, oh, this is his episode. This is where he's going out. Because that's usually the cue, right? So I was just I was waiting for it, but then I was just like, wait a second, Ratatouille's doing pretty good, or whatever whatever the name is, and things are going well, but it's I don't see him lasting long. Once he gets to the merge, no one's gonna yeah.
You're going after here for Brandon.
He catches one fish. Great job.
There's more. He can catch fish, man. There's it's not just football.
Yeah,
no, just
right.
football.
He can catch a fish.
Yeah. Okay, we go back to Soka here. Oh yeah, we get the whole thing here. So the two dorky magnets continue their quest here, and it's alienating the rest of the Soka tribe. Not enough to vote either of them out. Ultimately here in this tribal, they'll end up voting out Claire anyway, but they kind of there's this whole part here where they're kind of singled out, and they're the other four are oh yeah, we're going to stay together here, but that turns out to not really be a thing. I guess, but the other tribe mates feel at least a little bit alienated by it, because
so you got Claire, the tech investor, calling people a nerd. So very quaint.
Yeah, maybe that worked against her ultimately here in this. I know it's just a random shot I got here of Josh. Who's not, people are not warming up to Josh very much here on this tribe, guys. He was kind of expendable to both was it Heidi?
Yeah.
And to I think to Franny too. Franny was like, whatever, I don't care about Josh. Like and so I was like, I have Josh in the draft, and I don't know if I care about Josh. So
he hasn't given you a reason to.
He hasn't given me a reason not to either. He's just kind of been sort of a nothing so far. But like, I feel like we've gotten way more time with the other two tribes because they've both been to council before this episode. And I just think that there's some more interesting characters compared to Josh. I think Josh kind of is lost in this kind of a crowd that features Carolyn and Jam Jam and Kane and some interesting, colorful people.
I just want I need Jam Jam to get to Marge. I just want to see him interacting with everyone and everyone reacting to him.
Here's our boot for the episode, Claire, tech investor. More of here. Okay, and then let's talk about Danny. Danny eats the paper, guys.
Impressive. I don't care.
Impressive.
Impressive. What do you stop shaking your head, Jaemeel? Okay. What he
I was scratching my head.
This is the kind of player that I think Jaemeel would not.
The way that he set everything up, okay, with Matt. The way that they, once again, you have to like. I'm trying to always bring the presence of the viewer, right? And the way that they portrayed it is that he set Matt up for failure, right? By planning the fake idol, right? And he got away with it.
For now,
but did it feel like a little bit like unnecessary to you, Jaemeel? Like that it was like
the whole thing is unnecessary. Okay, here's the problem with his plan, right? He's the one he is drawing so much attention that he saw Matt put something in his pants. So let's say they decided to vote out Matt, right? And let's say Matt does use his idol.
Mm-hmm.
What then? He had a fake idol.
It'll be a fake idol. Maybe he gets voted out, maybe not. But
doesn't that automatically provide suspicion to Danny?
Probably.
Well, they don't know because how does it get linked to him?
Well, it's just suspicion because he's the one who said that's where I feel like his plan went too far for me. Because I was like, okay, plant the fake idol, even maybe push Matt B in that direction. That I think is where you should cut it off. But the second he was like, "Oh, I saw you put it in your pocket," and he was telling off to Josh, he was just that's where he was taking it a step too far because he was like, "Mission accomplished. They're off my tail." But I'm like, you kind of maybe are eating your own tail here. You're the sneaky little snake of the episode. Maybe, of course, I think Danny here.
Like, Foster, he took it one step too far. If he had Josh suspect Matt had something and then like indirectly had Josh like be the one who's like, I think that he has something, you can go along with it because if anyone questions anything, it's like, no, I brought it up to Danny or I never came up with it. Josh told me about it, right? Or even if you waited a little bit longer and say, hey, Josh has been acting funny. Have you seen him like go off? Maybe him and Freddie have been doing something. That alone should have been suspicious. The fact that they're running off by themselves all the time, right? But the fact that he just recently got it and then immediately it's like, hey, I think he has something, right? It's too close. It's like, were you watching me? Like I don't, it's not, it's a little bit too cute. And you don't want to be too cute when it comes to these things.
Especially this bow he puts here on this fake
He literally puts a bow on it.
I like
the original. Purple Matte at least had it strung up for a couple of days and it seems a lot more natural.
Purple Matte also did the same plan as we found out in this episode. Okay, then we get the commercial, but he puts it here in the tree and it takes a while. It's not like he plants it there and it's found right away. It takes a while for that to sort of.
It says 2 days.
2 days. Maybe by the time he found it, he just couldn't help himself. He's like, "Oh, I met B. I saw you put it in your pocket." I don't know. I guess that makes it even less excusable because he had time to even think about how this would play out when someone did find it. and this is what he thought was the best idea, which is disappointing. I'd say is my analysis of that. I think Danny's like too much.
I like Danny. That's the thing, Josh. I'm not like ragging on you, right? I think you're right up until a point. I just think he took it just one step too far, right? Matt would have been absolutely buried and had no recourse.
Guys, let's talk about this whole part here. We go back to Tika, the Purple Tribe, and we see Jam is snoring at night, keeping is it Carolyn up? You know, he can.
Foster, did you have something to say regarding it? I want to make sure.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Oh, well, here's a clip for Sam. Just we can see Sarah talking here to Carson about the different things.
That's Carson. Oh,
this is where she's like, "I'm on the bottom." Here.
She knows it.
What else we got here, guys? This is the whole part where he's planting it on Matt. Matt B, what a chump though. Come on, like he got played so easy. Like don't let Daddy push you around like this guy. Like
I put in my notes. Of course, my dude finds it.
Yeah. But not only that, no, it was more like how like Danny railroaded him, and he was just like, even like when Matt finally goes to tell Franny, she's like, I wish Josh and Daddy didn't know about this. This makes it even like not even worth it at all, And so Danny thinks he's real clever here, but I think it was too much, and I think it's gonna like not win most of the audience over. I think the most of the audience will say Danny was being a little bit mean here, beyond strategy. I think. But we'll see if this plays out or not for him. This is where Josh he has to come clean to Josh because of what Danny forced the issue. Danny could have done this, could have played this a whole bunch of different ways. He could have just sat on that information. I think that's probably the best thing. It's a fake idol. Who cares if he thinks he has it or not? You know that he has it. He doesn't know that you know that he has it. So I think it's better to do that. But anyway, Danny, guys, eating worms. Will you do it if you go on Survivor?
No, not if I'm peer pressured.
If I can quote some Big Brother, from the team that brought you Big Comfy Couch, Big Purple Couch, do what you need to do.
Oh sorry guys. We get my thing here. I need to get my soundboard out. I don't even have it out, Jaemeel.
Ooh. I put a little vocal style.
Do what you need to do.
And I think I still have it. No, do I?
Because if you're not eating, you got to do what you got to do.
Big blue couch. Grab a seat and some popcorn with your friends.
Some good
it's
moments.
2 seasons ago, but don't worry.
It still holds up.
Yeah, it still holds up.
I thought that this was interesting here with Jamie Lynn, who is eating the worm. She's the worm lady, plant lady here with Matthew, and I was like, well, this is like if you can stomach this, and sure, I guess it's a good source of energy out there where you don't get a lot of food. But on the other hand, gross. I don't know. So I'm kind of in two minds of it. Some of the other.
The zoom in of her face was great. It was great.
Yeah, she just like.
I'm gonna have so much fun making animated GIFs of this episode.
Yeah, there's some good stuff here. It's true. Lauren couldn't believe it. Yeah, there were some interesting moments here. They're all eating them. A few people are like, I guess if you're hungry enough, it's gonna come through. Jamie, I'm liking Jamie. She's been good.
There's a lot of likable people in this Survivor season.
What about Matthew? Are you liking him? You still call him Purple Matt, so I'm guessing not.
Purple Matt. I just do not see a long-term route for this gentleman.
Foster, what do you say on Matthew? Do you feel like he's like, we find out here he plants this idol and Jamie finds it, and then he ultimately like knows this, and we there's kind of this reveal here that he set this whole thing up, just kind of like Danny did over on Soka.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think that his is going to be more effective. Like the way that if you're comparing in terms of both situations how they were set up, his was a lot more subtle.
And he played it better. He played it much better.
He did, and he also was there when she found it, right? Because somebody else could have found it, right? So it was very convenient. Like I don't know if he planned to walk over there with her, but that we don't know. But it was well done. For overall though, for him though, I think that I like the energy, I like the effort. He's playing the game. He's having he's obviously he's an idiot and he popped his shoulder out, like he made a mistake. But like regardless of all that, like he's still he's bringing good work to the show, I think, in my opinion. But you're right, Jaemeel, though. He's not going to last long in terms of the whole game. He's going to, I think he's going to make it to merge, and then he'll be one of the first few out, I believe.
Like, this man won't be able to do any type of, like, endurance challenge. I as I mentioned before, from first season, from first episode, if you dislocate your shoulder, right, you pop it back in, but understand it makes it extremely susceptible from being dislodged again, right? And we're seeing the fruits of that situation. He could be causing himself permanent damage.
Like Jeff wasn't a fan of him. Like when Jeff has been on here the podcast this season, he said he was not a fan of Matthew. He thought he was trying way too hard. A bit of a keener. I can kind of see that, and I think that how he's playing Jamie here instead of working with her is not necessary. But he's ultimately, I guess, he doesn't. His instincts are telling him not to completely trust her or not to give her this information that he has the idol at least. So and let her believe she has a fake idol. He's fine with that too. So it's I don't think it's gonna make him the most popular player of the season unless he goes pretty deep here, and it will kind of be remembered as probably a good move for him. Depending on sort of. So I guess we're being a little results orientated perhaps in terms of how we're going to evaluate this, but yeah, Matthew. I would rather see Jamie Lynn win than Matthew at this point. Anyway, this guy. All right. Here he was just getting his hair done. He's like, I don't really care about this Jamie Lynn. She can do my hair.
Okay. Matt reminds me of Van Eck.
That's not a good thing.
First iteration of Matt. Just like his facial structure, I should say, primarily.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes, I agree. There's that similarity. Yeah, and so okay, we'll move on, guys. Let's just talk about the challenge here, where they had to move this.
Your time. It's the challenge time.
You love the challenges, man. And how did this one rate for you as far as Survivor immunity challenges go?
Not happy whatsoever with it. The only satisfaction was when they were digging out the sand and Matt popped his shoulder out. Like that was this was. I don't understand. Like there was, first of all, they were walking through, right? Well, they weren't even like pushing it, right? So like they weren't like there's no like they're just walking the thing through the water, right? With like somewhat high water, and then like getting up there is not very hard. You just have to hit it like a number of times. Like that's not difficult either. Like what if it was a knot? That'd be different, right? Instead of like whacking the thing at the top.
Yeah.
And you go to the beach. I like the digging into the sand. I think that's just getting down and dirty. Like it's it's good physical it's good physical challenge. Good.
The puzzle.
The puzzle. I liked it up until they did not. This is what I don't like about Survivor, and it's a rookie mistake I find with teams, and they don't knock their puzzle over when they're done. And it's like when you're playing against other teams, you don't want to give them any advantage ever. Just because you finish, you should be knocking down your tower and not giving that. Like they just walk, like it just ruins it, right? It just so I like I said, I'm not. Tonight's challenge was just overall didn't really have, except for the sand, it didn't really have anything going for me.
You mean the digging through the sand part?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think it's very like I've seen so many of these challenges now that they all kind
I
of.
got to give some harsh criticism, sometimes.
Fair.
Like it's not always going to be like good job, Survivor. You reinvented the wheel. It's.
I thought that like this whole part where they had to move the crate through the water and then they had to stand on the crate, and I thought like Matthew was going to fall off here at one point, and like break his other shoulder. Which I think
that part was I didn't mention that part, but that was fine. Yeah, that's
like
fine.
Here?
I think it could have been a lot harder. Like they could have been in like much deeper water, or they could, you know what I mean? Like it's just that aspect, like the what they had to do was fine. How they had to do it could have been harder.
Right.
Fair.
It's like, but this could go badly, I guess, if you're not careful. But yeah, it was whatever. Basically the idea is like, we're going to make you tired as much as we can, so you can have about 3-second head start on a puzzle, and so what these things always kind of come down to. My shoulder, guys. Here we get Matthew. What a great frame we have here where he's definitely hurting. Oh, that's a good one. They had to dig through the sand here, which I've seen this before. It's whatever.
I will state a disappointment. I didn't get enough Jeff telling people to dig. I was a little disappointed. It was a little light on that remark.
You're right. We should just go to the board just for old time's sake here. Just to make sure if we're lacking, we can give ourselves. Hey,
You gotta dig deep. You gotta keep digging. What happened?
I also, once again, at the beginning, it also started off on the wrong foot when Claire, once again, it wasn't a group decision. You said you will always. She
was like, I think I should sit out. I think I should sit out. And they're like,
yeah, she's like, I can go out. I can,
don't you want to be on Survivor?
I don't think that she said I should go out. I think she said I can go out. Right?
Maybe it's like the swimming part that I don't know. I don't know what's holding her up specifically. We'll never know now. She's been voted out. We'll never see how she performed in challenges at all because it wasn't part of her entire game. So it might be a record. Somebody who's never played in a single challenge and got voted out. Is it? Could it be? Anyway. The challenge here.
One, but I don't know if you want to count that one when they're all in their street clothes and Bruce got himself hurt.
There's that one too. You're right. I think we have seen it in past years though, Jaemeel, where we've seen other teams knock down their puzzle afterwards. I think even as recently as like a couple of years ago, I think we're seeing this, and so Kane and Matthew don't think to do that here, or the rest of the Ratu tribe, who ultimately come in first place. They both try to copy the puzzle. It just turns out that the green tribe was not as good at it as the purple tribe by just a little bit. And so, they were Carson maybe in particular. Did he save them here?
Yeah, they looked over and they cribbed the notes. So
I was cheering for them. I wanted, even though I have Josh in the draft, I was actively hoping here for, and I also have Carson, but that green would go to tribal here because I didn't want to see the dynamic of the game like come down to now. Oh, there's now only 3 Tika in the game, and I think that would have like potentially, or sometimes that works out for like the 3 people who are like, we've seen past seasons where like, a tribe gets decimated, but the survivors of that decimated tribe can even go further because they're not looked at as big of threats because they don't have the numbers, right? So that can be a good thing, or sometimes it's the complete opposite. They just get voted out very early because no one has allegiances to them either. Yeah. Anyway, so we saw the challenge here. They get out of here. Kane got knighted, guys. Did you?
Lord.
Yeah, take the sword. He says he gives the shield here. And do you guys like this that they take the flint away?
I like that.
No fire, so they
got him once again. Like because of how refined the show has become, right? In terms of production, in terms of setup, in terms of how they instruct the cast, right? In terms of like what they involve themselves with and what they don't involve themselves with. I think it's good to see that they are taking away something that does make it easier. Whether they have other things that they can use that are, somewhat not equivalent, but somewhat, useful. I don't know, right? Because unless you go to the chats or whatever, right, or talk to the previous players, right? But if this is going to make the game that much more, the stakes are higher in a sense, right? Or it's going to be more exciting, then I like the idea of it because it's a simple thing that they can add it, that they've added in to consistently say, if you're on the bottom, you basically you pay the cost.
Samurai.
You mean, are you saying don't be dead last?
Yeah, it's collusion, eh? They were like, this year, guys, you're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, so you get that first pick later on. Where were we, guys? I think let's
challenge and finishing up. Yeah,
the challenge, and then I guess ultimately, like they come down to let's get out Claire, which is kind of like what we get right coming out of the commercial and coming back.
And it's a sensible argument, though.
And it's ultimately the one that holds up in this episode. It's what happens here. They go back. They maybe it will be Josh, or maybe she'll have to flip this around. Franny, is it Franny or Fanny?
Franny.
It's Fanny.
No, it's Franny.
It's Franny.
Oh.
It's Franny. And Franny kind of wavers here, and she kind of tries to see if she can get Heidi to sort of flip here and get the 3 votes, but ultimately Heidi's like no, and they all kind of go along with it because Matt B doesn't have a vote, and the rest of this was kind of just, I don't know, like I feel like this was what we're here at, like the 40-minute mark in the episode. There's kind of a lot of this, like, I think we got to see a little bit more of Franny's personality and gameplay. So I liked this part, I guess, seeing that she's thinking things through. And I feel like of the duo of her and Matt, I think she's the brains. I think Matt's going to do whatever she tells him.
I agree. I think that she comes across and she's recognized as being one of the more athletic women, right? Plus she's smart.
Yeah.
Right. And then plus she's already got this dude, like he is like wrapped up in a bow.
He'll do whatever she says. So it's on here. Franny might have a good position in the game, and now that she's been through this vote, and she wasn't the target, which and neither was Matt.
Which
so
I was like, wow.
Like, you think that if they're gonna, like, if Claire's gonna try to take the target off of her, it's interesting she chose to put it onto Josh and not onto either Franny or Matt or both.
Or she
because I think because she knows she needs Matt and she needed Matt and Franny's both votes, right? But I don't know. Did they all know that?
Matt has no vote, though. Remember?
Yeah, I know, but did all of them know that though? Danny,
I think it seems like everyone knew that. Like,
okay.
I don't think it was a secret to anybody on the tribe. It's hard to keep that stuff secret at the best of times, especially once you tell one person. It's like a tribe of 6 people.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows very quickly. It's very intimate out there. Especially when you got people here like Danny, who just like goes around like a madman. It seems.
Look, there's nothing to do, so any little bit of like social currency that you can kind of, get credit for, like you're gonna do it. Because you're gonna run out of stuff to say.
Right, yeah, because like you see sometimes like when you watch like cutscenes and they'll just be sitting around like, what's your favorite kind of pie? And then they'll just be talking about pies. Like they just like you got days and days with no kind of distractions that you would normally have in your real life, right? So you just have to find ways to fill the time, and a lot of that does get filled up with just like, well, what about this and what about that, and maybe we'll do this in the game. And so I think that's ultimately what we see here sometimes, because they don't want it to be. When was the last time we really saw a tribal council that it was like a foregone conclusion who was going?
Yeah.
And, they always want to leave a little suspense here, even if, like, in reality, there wasn't really that much debate about what was going to happen going into this.
Yeah.
Pull this down. Don't need to advertise whatever that show was. And then I had the whole thing here at the end. Okay, the tribal council itself, I don't know. Dull? Would you guys say?
Yeah, it was pretty basic. Like it was just basically Claire just kind of airing it all out and being like, "Yeah, this is the situation." Like, she looks at what's her name again?
Zainab.
Sorry,
Zainab. Sorry, not Zainab.
Who's that?
Not wrong person. Wrong person. Go ahead, Fuss.
She was looking at tribal council. Right.
Heidi.
Heidi, yes.
Heidi, yes. So
and she's
close.
She's just like, is this the same?
Zainab.
Do you feel the same way? And it's just like, yeah, I guess. And it's just like, okay, well, I guess I think I know what that means. And she was wrong, I assumed.
No, I think she knew exactly what it meant. And that's why she used her shot in the dark, because she had no chance. And it seemed like more of a benefit for the television watchers. So there was a little bit of like mystery leading up to the vote, as opposed to like, yeah, I'm not voting for you. So, you know, let's get on with the ceremony.
Can we just get through this? You know, I wonder if like it's like they know going in. It's like we know we've already decided what we're voting, and then Jeff just wants to probe them with questions for like 2 hours. Like, what about this? You know, Franny, tell me. Like, whenever he came in, he's like, "Is this like the square root of like voting an alliance member out or something like that?" And she's like, "Totally." Whatever he was throwing at her at the beginning here.
I loved how Jeff at the final time roasted Claire for not participating in any challenges, right? Because he said it every single time she sat out, right after the first time, right?
Yeah, but like he said it every time, but then like at the challenge today, she said, "Well, maybe there's a method to this. Maybe this will work. Maybe the Greed Tribe will go deep into this."
But he's trying to be like a little more positive. But because he brought it up again in Tribal Council.
Yeah.
I don't think he was happy.
No, he's like, you gotta
keep digging. What happened?
Yeah, like he's like, I was right, but you gotta dig. That was not off base.
You gotta dig deep.
I just
Let's go dig now.
You yourself, right? You like want competitors, and to see someone purposely like not put themselves in the game.
Yeah,
it's one of the. There's always, not every season, but you get a person every so often that comes along, and it's like you wasted your opportunity in some way. And I really think she did, and she doesn't. I don't think she realized that, because her confessional at the end, she was like, "Oh, like yeah, happy go lucky," but I think that she's gonna realize, like looking back on it and watching the show, that it's like I never really experienced that much. Right? Because now she has her memories, but she was on a reality show and she can't see herself perform. She can't see her, you know what I mean? Like, so besides that, I think she's going to have regrets. And because you got to put yourself in the game. Like, people train for this. People train to go on these shows, right? Like, not just puzzles, but like
Danny,
physical stuff too.
She's kind of like, she was like the opposite of Danny, who's playing so hard. You're like, ease up a little bit, bro. You know, like you're going at 110 all the time, you know, whereas Claire, I think, was too lax and wanted to play too much of a social game. But she, like that, if you're a Survivor fan, you should know that that's not ultimately going to be respected. Even if she got to the end, like people would say, well, you didn't compete early on, right? I think it will just, you're hurting your case from the beginning. I don't think you'll lose too much of that currency, that respect early, and I think that should be obvious to people, unless you have like some kind of compelling reason, like your arms broke in or something. But like that she doesn't have that. She doesn't have that sort of built in, so it's always going to be criticized, I think. Like even if she were to come back later and like maybe win a bunch of immunity challenges, unless I don't know, guys. Let's go to our draft update here, as we see Claire is the fourth person out of the game, third voted out, day 7. Sean drafted her at 14 overall in this. So Sean is he only has Yam Yam or Jam Jam left now, and we can see here that the purple has lost 2, green has lost their first member, and orange, of course, had lost Maddie as well. So it's pretty even, across the board in terms of the tribes and in terms of our draft teams. Amanda out of this thing, far out, and now Jen and Sean have both lost a player each. So the rest of us are looking pretty good. And that's it here for draft update.
Yeah. Well,
if I you go first.
You may.
I may. I just was gonna say that I've enjoyed watching my picks. They've been great television. Kane and Carolyn.
You can't deny it. You picked the most entertaining draft team compared to mine, who I have Carson and Josh. I wouldn't say that the most entertaining duo. Carson more so than Josh. Josh is they're like, why did we put this guy on the TV show? What's going on? So I think he's got abs and he's a doctor and he's got some things going on, but he doesn't seem like he's the most extroverted person ever. And Jaemeel, how about your pick? Your team? You got
Well, someone tried to go after the crown, and then she got eliminated. She got. So I hope that's a lesson.
That being Lauren, right? Oh yeah. Okay.
I hope that's a lesson to be learned. Keep Matt's name out your mouth.
Keep Matt's name out your mouth, guys. Let's look ahead to the next week.
Best man, the final chapters.
Yes, that's right. Limited series coming up on W. Yeah, the next episode here of Survivor, we see Franny. It seems like it's gonna be a real like green tribe focus, perhaps. One of the cage. A lot of looks here.
The X in the cage, the sticks in the cage, or whatever.
Something's gonna change everything, and then that's that. But yeah, I don't know. There's a boat coming in. What's the boat about?
It's a boat.
I won't be here next week, guys. So you're gonna have to talk about it without me. It's called "I'm Felicia." That's the name of the episode next week. Is it from that saying like "Bye, Felicia," and then somebody says "I'm Felicia"? So bye to me.
They could be saying bye to someone, and they're like, "Wait, you're saying bye to me?
I'm Felicia." Yeah. Like bye to me? Am I actually the one?
If someone goes like this, like bye Felicia.
Bye Felicia. I'm Felicia. Or somebody overhears it, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
How soon are we gonna get the merge, you think, Jaemeel?
I think we're 2 episodes away.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. I feel like that,
although most likely it's probably not going to be a traditional merge.
Do you think they'll do like a two tribe first? Like maybe do that for a day?
Or it could be like an individual team merge, where like it might be an episode. Next episode is the last one where it's 3 groups. Then they have the merge episode, but they haven't merged yet. And then the episode after is the actual merge.
Because in the previous season in 43, we didn't get our first juror until the 8th vote out, 8th boot. So there would need to be at least two or 3 potentially more people to go before the merge.
So technically my math works out.
It works out, but like they would have to do an episode where they lose 2 people. In order to get there.
The third one, they smash the hourglass and change the course of history.
History, that's right, they would.
Which Carolyn should get.
Carolyn should get that.
She's like, what do I do with this?
I smashed the hourglass and I changed the course of history.
All those great things. Okay, guys. Well, I think good luck next week without me. I don't know. Maybe you'll have Jeff with you. Who's to say? And you can talk more Survivor. I'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about episode 5, I guess. It will be called The Third Turd, that episode. So some interesting names this season.
Someone says it.
And thanks for being with us here tonight. You need to check out all of our great content here on Super Mario Brothers podcasting, including we've been covering Big Brother Canada season 11 already, a couple episodes. We're not on tonight. We're actually missing the episode right now because we wanted to do Survivor. That's how dedicated we are to Survivor and how underappreciative we are of a 3-time-a-week show in Big Brother. But we'll be back tomorrow night, guys, right? At least some of us will be on tomorrow night to talk about Big Brother Canada.
Yes.
At least these two will be. I have the Picard podcast over on our sister channel under the United Federation of Podcasts. You need to check out Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek channel, where I will be talking tomorrow about Star Trek Picard. season 3, the newest episode. It's called Imposter. It looks like Worf's hunted changelings with Raffi. It's going to be great. So we're excited to talk about that. But back to Super Mater Brothers podcasting. Also be checking out the Mary Mater Marvel Society content, including most recently Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. And we talked about all of 2022 earlier this year, too. Davan, Jaemeel, and I. Davan, of course, is on the Federation as well. He's got the X-rated X-Men the Animated Review show every Tuesday with Andre. Andre also has the Graphics Histories podcast, where he does some long-form audio interviews of people from movies and comic books and what have you. And Hold Up, a movie podcast every second Wednesday. Are they on tonight? I think they were on tonight, right? Jaemeel?
Yes, they were on tonight. Tonight is supposed to be the television episode, so UHF, stay tuned, and good night and good luck.
Oh, excellent. Of course, David also has the Simpsons podcast, KBBBL, every Friday with Baker and Francis, talking about episodes of The Simpsons. They're into season 2 now. And Michael Chan on the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn. Wednesdays, that comes out, an audio format podcast focused on horror. And Trivial Debates, a monthly show. We argue about movies, TV, sports, and more, often with a theme. And just announced today, very exciting. Locked in now. We have Chris Murphy hosting the wrestling-themed episode coming up on Saturday, April 1st, 2023, with Jaemeel from this podcast, if you know it, competing with Andre Mayette, aforementioned from the Graphics History podcast, and a newcomer, Jaemeel, whose name I need to remind myself of.
His name's going to be Mud, and I'm going to stomp a hole through him.
His name is Jason R. Phillips. I'm sorry. I should have had that ready. And he's coming in. He's got the belt, guys. Like, that looks pretty intimidating. Like, look at that.
That belt, that's my belt.
You're going to take that belt from him?
I'm going to take that belt with him.
Well,
from him.
You take it with him. I don't know. I'm inclined to cheer for you,
the
Jaemeel.
unity of the Holy Spirit.
I wish Andre well as well, but Jason R. Phillips, I don't know yet, so I don't feel a need to cheer for him yet. He might win me over on the show. I can't promise anything, but if I'll try to be a Jaemeel maniac as much as possible. Jaemeel,
I'm gonna murder these folks.
You take it.
They're gonna be murked
for WrestleMania weekend. Jaemeel or Foster, are you excited about that Trivial Debates?
Absolutely, always excited.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. Okay, guys. Well, we'll let you go for tonight. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for Survivor. Or make sure to check out the other stuff I mentioned. All right, and I think we'll go out with a good one, an old classic here.
Wood fire grilled Outback steak, plus the brand new Outback Steakhouse Margarita, the grilled pineapple Rita.